because it's free agency, first day of free agency, and oh man, I love me some free agency. I'm Troy. If it's your first time here, make sure you are subbed up to this channel. New NBA content several times a week. Make sure you like the video too. Going to be taking some questions for folks who maybe want to pick my brain about what all we're seeing with free agency. So I have my free agency tracker. I have my my lineups of what has happened thus far. So let's break down, I think, what some of the big moves are for free agency so far next season. Okay, so the first one, Lonzo Ball going to the Bulls. I think that's a great move. When you look at their roster now, especially since they signed Alex Caruso as well, really like what they're doing with their team. So you're going to have Lonzo, you're going to have Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, who really came on last year as a rookie, one of the youngest players in the league, who sky's the limit for him. Markkanen at the 4 right now. Still don't exactly know what's going to happen with him, whether they re-sign him, if he's in their future plans. Not exactly sure yet, but then you have Vucevic at the 5. My big thing with this, I wonder what's going to happen with Kobe White, because with Ball, Caruso, LaVine, all those guys are going to be getting minutes. Then you have Kobe White, who, definitely with this Lonzo signing is for sure a bench player for the foreseeable future. But I like this move. I like how Caruso can play with LaVine. He can play with Ball. I like how Ball can play with Kobe, can play with LaVine. Maybe even have like Kobe White, LaVine lineups in there sometimes if you want to go super small. Have maybe Ball at the 3, have LaVine at the 2, Kobe at the 1, Patrick Williams at the 4. Lots of lineups you can do with this Bulls roster. I like it a lot. Let's see, what else has happened? Got to talk about Miami. Big stuff happening with Miami. So, of course, they have Kyle Lowry. Jimmy Butler looking to sign that big extension. They have Duncan Robinson, who they re-upped. To back up Adebayo, they have P.J. Tucker. They have Dwayne Dedmon, who they re-signed. Still not exactly sure what they're going to do for that power forward spot. Are you going to put Precious Achiuwa there? Or are you going to start Tucker at the 4? So some questions regarding that. Still don't exactly know what's going to happen with Goran Dragic as well. They picked up his team option. So is he gonna, if there's some sort of a Kyle Lowry sign and trade, will he go to Toronto? Will he get rerouted somewhere else? So still some questions with that, but I like what Miami has done. Just adding that championship experience, and Kyle Lowry, who, man, is a bulldog out there. I mean, it's really good for Miami. I think he fits that heat culture. Really, just really good player. Really solid dude. Let's talk about New York. They re-signed Derrick Rose. They're now going to have Evan Fournier on the team. Fournier, of course, played about as many games for the Celtics last year as you or I did, but Fournier now at the 2. So that means R.J. Barrett, they'll have him at the 3, along with Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson. They re-signed Nerlens Noel as well on the Knicks. They also re-signed Alec Burks. And then rest of their team, they have Quickly, who was an awesome rookie for them. Obi Toppin, Kevin Knox. I mean, he's still on the team. I don't know if you're going to really what you want to say about him. And they also have Frankie Smokes on the team still as well. So New York looking like they will challenge yet again for the playoffs. And, of course, Knicks fans. I know we have lots of Knicks fans on this channel. Knicks fans hoping that they will be able to compete not only for the playoffs but also advance, maybe past the first round. Maybe they won't get matched up with Atlanta again. Okay, let me look at my free agency tracker. Let's see who some of the other big names are. Chris Paul, of course, re-signing with Phoenix. That is not surprising. Jarrett Allen taking that big deal with Cleveland. that 5-year, $100 million deal. Yeesh. I hope he lives up to that. He's a good player, though. Norman Powell re-signing with the Blazers. That's quite the overpay, in my opinion, about $18 million a year. Oof, I don't know. I don't think that's a particularly good move. Tim Hardaway Jr. re-signing with Dallas. They also re-signed Boban, and they feel like they picked up somebody else too. Gary Trent Jr. also, not with Portland, but he's back in Toronto. I feel like that's a pretty good deal. He got exactly fewer years than Norman Powell, two fewer years, but still $18 million a year. Devontae Graham going from Charlotte to the Pelicans. Let's talk a little bit for a minute about what the Pelicans have done. I mean, are they trying to lose Zion as quickly as possible? I don't understand what's happening with New Orleans. So first off, Zion and Brandon Ingram both said, yeah, we would really like to have Lonzo back on this team. So what does New Orleans do? They let him sign elsewhere. Now they have Devontae Graham, who will start at point guard. Two guards still up for debate. Maybe they'll re-sign Josh Hart. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is an option. Maybe Kyra Lewis Jr., but I see him more as a backup right now, especially whether it be one or the two. So not exactly sure on two guard. Ingram at the 3, Zion at the 4, then Jonas Valanciunas now at the 5. So looking at that team, I feel like they've gotten worse. And what other moves are they going to make? Because they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They have 15 guys. They have 15 roster spots now, depending, if maybe they turn Herbert Jones into a two-way, that would put him at 14. But Devontae Graham, Kyra Lewis, Saturansky, who came over in that sign and trade with Chicago, Josh Hart, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Garrett Temple, Didi Louzada, who is that two guard they drafted in the second round last year, who they just re-signed. Ingram, Wesley Wundu, I think is still on the team. Trey Murphy, the third. Winyon Gabriel is on the team still, and then Jackson Hayes. Yeesh, let's not even talk about the trouble that he's in regarding his arrest, but he's still technically on the team and taking up a roster spot. So I don't see New Orleans particularly doing that much to improve their team. Which, unfortunate for them. John Doe says Precious Achiuwa heading to Toronto. That is not something I have heard. Here's one. Rashawn Holmes just agrees to a 4-year deal with the Kings, so they're re-signing him. Okay, so regarding Precious Achiuwa. Yeah, I have heard the scuttlebutt that it was going to be Goran Dragic and Achiuwa going to Toronto in a sign and trade with Kyle Lowry. I haven't seen anywhere where that's confirmed. Would not surprise me at all if that happens, and whether Toronto decides to keep Dragic, or whether they reroute him somewhere else. That's still to be determined. But I would pencil in that Achiuwa is going to be going to the Raptors along with Goran Dragic. That's what I would think. And I feel like that's a good move for Toronto, getting something for Kyle Lowry. Just had a question, not sure who it was who asked, but asked if Houston can trade John Wall. You can trade anybody eventually at some point. Westbrook has been traded twice, right? I don't see it happening right now, not anytime soon, if at all. Maybe you could, but I don't really know that there's a market for him right now. Maybe if he has another good year with Houston, yeah, I think that's definitely possible. But I would see more of a buyout as opposed to a trade for John Wall. Especially right now. I don't feel like there's any market for John Wall. Okay, let me, since we just had Rashawn Holmes re-sign with the Kings, let's talk about Sacramento for a few minutes. All right, let me update my Sacramento roster. So let's see, Sacramento, they did a little bit of free agency work already. They signed Mo Harkless. They signed Alex Lynn. They made that trade earlier to bring in Tristan Thompson. So now Sacramento looking at De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, who is still currently on the roster, Harrison Barnes, Marvin Bagley, and Rashawn Holmes as the starters. Then backing up, you have Rashawn Holmes, you have Tyrese Halliburton, you have Davion Mitchell. They have Jameis Ramsey, who Uncle Joe. I see your question. I'll answer in a second. Jameis Ramsey, and thank you for that compliment. Mo Harkless, how could you be Mo Harkless, who they just re-signed? Then Tristan Thompson, Alex Lynn. You gotta talk about Nemish Queta, right? So that's how Sacramento's looking. I know that they're trying to really compete for the playoffs. I don't really know how you do it with this roster unless there's huge amounts of internal improvement from Bagley, Halliburton. Maybe Davion Mitchell becomes like a Rookie of the Year candidate. I don't exactly know. Yes, I do think more signings will happen tonight, Packers GOAT. I don't exactly know where Mitchell fits into this team. Yeah, what John Doe was saying, I read that too. I think that's probably the case. Yeah, I don't really know where Davion Mitchell fits on this team with with already Fox, Halliburton. You gotta get off Buddy Hield. So Sacramento, I don't see him making the playoffs. Yeah, Muhammad Raza says, "What are the Pelicans doing?" I know I just talked about them. I have no idea what they're doing. So to answer the question from a moment ago, does Houston or OKC, do they have an in with John Collins? I don't think so. I think OKC would be great for John Collins and vice versa. I don't see Atlanta letting go of John Collins. I just don't. I don't see that happening. Speaking of Atlanta, let's see. They did a signing or two, didn't they? What did they get? Oh yeah, they got Gorgie Jang. They also got Solomon Hill. And they haven't done a whole lot else. I've read that they want to give Trae Young his max. They also made that trade earlier last week for DeLon Wright, so that'll be a good backup for Trae Young. I'm liking Atlanta. Atlanta's got a really, really strong team. I'm really liking Atlanta. And all they need to do is just re-sign John Collins, which I think should be done sooner rather than later. I like the Gorgie Jang signing as well. Really good backup for Clint Capella, especially since Onyeka Okongwu will be out for several months with that shoulder surgery. We have a commenter talking about a Knicks trade to try to get Damian Lillard. I mean, if that's the case, I would see the Knicks having to trade a lot of their young guys and RJ, like you were saying. I mean, that's going to be really hard trade to do, and it's going to leave the Knicks with nothing. I mean, crazier things have happened, but that would be tough, and especially I think since Dame Lillard is trying to see what Portland is doing this offseason. So yeah, Portland did. Let's talk about Portland in a second because they did re-sign Norman Powell, like I mentioned. They also got appreciate you. They also got Cody Zeller. Got Greg Brown in the draft. They haven't really done anything else, but so right now they're kind of holding steady, standing pat. Good enough for the playoffs, good enough to advance that far in the playoffs. Not right now from everything that I'm seeing. Okay, let's see. Appreciate all the questions everybody's asking. Always good to talk with the fans out there. Hey, while we got a sec, if it's your first time here, I'm Troy. I love the NBA. I love basketball. Glad you could tune into the channel with me today. Hey, make sure you like the video and sub. Did I mention that? Maybe. I don't know. Sub again. Cool. Yeah, appreciate you tuning into the channel today. Free agency. Such a fun time. I love me some free agency. Let's see. No, just looking through the Woj and Shams feeds, not seeing anything as of yet that is new. Okay, let's talk about some of the guys who are still unsigned, and then depending on what happens, maybe we'll call it a day after that. So who is still available? Some really good names actually. And you guys tell me in the comments where you think these guys should go. Kawhi, who did not pick up his player option, I figure he will re-sign with the Clippers. DeMar DeRozan, maybe Miami, maybe LA. I don't know, not exactly sure. Otto Porter Jr., I think he could be a good free agent for somebody. Would not surprise me maybe if the Grizzlies try to maybe get in on Otto Porter Jr. Victor Oladipo, after his injury-plagued year last year, maybe he'll take a one-year deal with somebody. I've heard the Lakers might be interested. Otto, who cares? Maybe. Dennis Schroeder. Oh, man. How badly did Dennis Schroeder screw up his NBA future, really? He turned down a 4-year, $84 million deal from the Lakers, only for the Lakers to shrug and be like, okay, we'll just trade for Russell Westbrook instead. And now, who's Dennis Schroeder going to sign with? Because the dude wants to start. Where is he going to start? Not Memphis, not Dallas. I'm looking at where they're maybe. I mean, the Clippers don't really have a starting point guard unless you talk about Pat Beverly. But yeah, where on earth is? Oh, and you still have Kemba Walker with Oklahoma City, who's going to have to be traded somewhere, and he's way better than Schroeder. Yeah, where on earth is Dennis Schroeder? Boston needs a point guard. Do you want to bring Dennis Schroeder into that? No. I don't know. Yeah. All this to say, I think Dennis Schroeder really screwed himself over. I would be surprised. Well, I mean, what's he going to get, like mid-level now? But yeah, he should fire his agent immediately. Or maybe his agent should just like excuse himself from being a part of Dennis Schroeder's employment payroll, because I don't know. But I'm rambling, but it was a terrible decision by Dennis Schroeder. That's the main thing. Okay, Danny Green is still available. The corpse of Andre Iguodala is still available. Kelly Oubre is still available. Oh yeah, okay. White chick that likes Cheetos. Is that supposed to be Cheetos? White chick that likes Cheetos is asking about Daniel Tice. But hold up. White chick who likes Cheetos also mentioned something about Oladipo and Dallas. So we'll see. I'll read about that in a second. Okay, what do I think of the Daniel Tice signing in Houston? Well, let me think about it. So let's look at who Houston has. They have John Wall, of course. They'll have Jalen Green. They have Daniel House. Well, they'll probably start Deshaun Tate over Daniel House. Then Christian Wood, and now Daniel Tice. He's not a bad center. Good defender, good rim runner. He's not going to have any sort of outside shot. I like him. Maybe he's a good mentor for Alperen Şengün. I think it's a good deal in the sense that you can have Daniel Tice as a starter, maybe for the first year. Let Şengün kind of get a little more acclimated to the NBA game. If you're Houston, you don't want a starter who's really going to come in, or a center who's really going to come in, take a lot of minutes from Şengün, maybe take minutes from Garuba. So I'm totally fine with the Daniel Tice signing. Just a nice veteran to have in that front court, because you have lots of young guys in that front court with Christian Wood, Garuba, Şengün, and DJ Wilson. So you want a guy in there who isn't going to really take a lot of minutes away from them. You want a guy in there who is going to know his role and is going to understand that, okay, when these guys are ready to play and take my spot, that's what's going to happen. So in that sense, I like the move for Houston. Okay, some other signings. James Johnson still needs a team. JJ Redick needs a team. Justice Winslow, who would not be surprised if maybe a contender, maybe even Houston, to be honest, would send him back home to Houston. Takes a chance with Winslow. Patty Mills, he might go back to San Antonio, would not surprise me. Tony Snell, probably out of the league by this point, I would imagine. Spencer Dinwiddie, he's a big one. Could it be Washington? Could it be Dallas? What's up, Scotty Bust? Heart. Yes, back at you, my man. Let's see. Lou Williams, still without a team. Paul Millsap. Nemanja Bjelica without a team. He can stretch the floor as a big man. Ish Smith, Avery Bradley. Spencer Dinwiddie in Washington. Yeah, I have heard that would potentially be a good fit. I like that fit, especially because Bradley Beal likes it too. A lot of people need a point guard. No, I totally disagree with that. Tell me what teams need a point guard. It's fewer than 5, definitely. Lots of teams do not need a point guard. I totally disagree with that. Let's see. In terms of guys who probably aren't going to get signed anytime soon, maybe not at all, Ed Davis, Mike Scott, Robin Lopez, Cristiano Felicio, Dante Exum, Kaminsky. Maybe not. I don't know if he'll get a team. Is Frankie's this says Frankie Smokes is an unrestricted now, which I think he would be a good flyer for somebody, to be honest. Dennis Smith Jr. also unrestricted. Malik Monk unrestricted. Lots of solid players. Bismack Biyombo's okay. This says DJ Wilson's unrestricted. He might have been. I'm not exactly sure. Several solid players still out there. The big names, of course, DeMar, Kawhi, but he'll probably sign with Lakers. But DeMar, Kawhi, Dinwiddie, Schroeder, Oladipo, Kelly Oubre, I think are probably the biggest names remaining. Okay, let's do a quick check to see if there's been any other updates from Shams or Woj. And no, not that I can see. Yes, Biyombo is available. White Falcon, he is available. So I take it White Falcon would rather have Biyombo over Nerlens Noel then. Hey, you can't have too many guys on the team with hooves for hands. That's what I have to say. Let's see. Ben McLemore signing with the Blazers. Pelicans, Knicks need a point guard. The Knicks have Rose. Pelicans have Devontae Graham. I don't think they need one anymore. So yeah, Ben McLemore signing with the Blazers. Don't know anything about Ryan Lewis though. So let's McLemore, man, yeesh. If they're wanting to keep Dame happy, signing Ben McLemore is not the way to do it. Yeesh. Ben McLemore, he'll be good for a good 1 for 8 shooting each night. That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Okay. Anybody else I want to talk about real quick? Denver re-signed Will Barton. They got Austin Rivers. They got Jeff Green. So they changed out one Green for another. JaMychal Green for Jeff Green. They won't even have to get a new jersey for him, right? Yeah, totally. Golden State hasn't done anything. Clippers re-signed Batum. Dame and Ben McLemore, new super team for sure. C.J. McCollum, who needs him anymore, right? Phoenix re-signed Chris Paul. They got Cameron Payne back. They got JaVale McGee, which I think basically cements that they're giving up on Jalen Smith already. If you're gonna re-sign McGee. Talked about Portland. San Antonio Spurs. They got Doug McDermott and they got Zach Collins. They may still re-sign Patty Mills. Who knows? Utah got Conley. Talked about Atlanta. Boston hasn't really signed anybody. No, they made the trade for Chris Dunn. Christian Wood for Kuminga and Wiseman. Come on, man. No, come on. Let's see. Brooklyn got back Blake. Charlotte hasn't really done anything except lose Devontae Graham and get rid of Malik Monk. Cleveland hasn't done anything. Oh, well, Cleveland signed Jared Allen, but we knew that was going to happen. Let's see. Yeah, McGee will be a good backup for Ayton, but what about Jalen Smith, right? I mean, why do you even draft the guy? Why didn't they get Halliburton? Why didn't they get Halliburton? Miami's done a lot. Milwaukee, they re-signed Portis. Orlando hasn't done much. Philly re-signed Furk Sanity back in Philly. And Toronto still needs a big man in the middle who's not Aaron Baines. And then Washington still needs... Hey, Washington, that's a team with a point guard. Maybe Schroeder will go there if they don't get Dinwiddie, right? So, yeah, that's the latest free agent buzz. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm Troy. Like the video, sub the channel. Depending on what happens tomorrow, maybe back and do this again. And appreciate everybody tuning in to today's channel. And we'll catch you.